that once.
I know. You and
It's
your
too bad. Anyways, we're live now, so welcome to the Maple Minds podcast on this Tuesday afternoon, February 3rd. I'm Christy, that's Rob and Polly. We're three people from BC who just share opinions about what's going on in politics and news, whether that's in BC, Canada, or the world. Today, mostly we're focusing, I think, almost entirely on Canada, but I'm sure those attention-seeking Americans find their way into our conversations. But we got to start with the aftermath of the Conservative Convention, the aftermath of Pierre Poilievre surviving his leadership review. And I smile when I say surviving, because when media outlets talked about surviving, because if he had failed this review, that would be the end of his job. But other conservatives really criticized the word survive. This is much more than surviving. This is 87.4%, I believe that was, or 87.5 or something. First of all, it's not 87% of Canadians. It's not even 87% of conservatives. It's not 87% of registered conservatives. It was 87% of the delegates that were at that convention. But he has passed his review. He keeps his job. He gives a speech that we'll talk about. We'll talk about the marketing of the event and his speech and his image. Take it away, Rob.
Oh, nice. So a few things. Obviously, I dislike Pierre Poilievre with a passion. I do. And I mean, obviously there's going to be some sort of bias against him for like when I watch, because I mean, again, he had a lot of misinformation that he was throwing out there. There was stuff that just wasn't quite true that he was trying to rile his base up with. And you could see it. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, the whole thing was just a dog and pony show anyway. His people were like, they were all handpicked. The delegates were pretty much handpicked, like ahead of time. They had to sort of swear some sort of allegiance to him to be invited.
Time out. I would like to address this before we go further, because I don't believe that that's the case for all delegates. I have reason to believe that it's not the case for all delegates. I know that some people have said it on the internet, but we can't give the impression, in all fairness, of protecting the truth, we can't say that the entire voting block, the whole delegation was handpicked, because I know of other people have posted to say, like, listen, I know this is going around, but I wasn't vetted first. I didn't have to pledge my allegiance to Pierre. And I know somebody else who went who also didn't have to pledge any kind of allegiance. So I understand that that's going around. I'm not saying it didn't happen to any of the delegates, but I am confidently saying that there's reason to believe that it didn't happen with all of them. Please continue.
Okay, maybe not all of them, but I'm from what
just
it sounds
keeping it truthful, buddy. Just keeping it truthful.
100%. From what it sounds like, there was a lot of delegates that were, invited to come.
Yeah, that's fair.
And accepted. So maybe that's a better wording for it. Maybe they weren't all handpicked, but there was a number that were invited to come.
And it was also planned during the Ontario Conservative Convention, cutting down the audience anyways. But sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and cutting down especially like the people from Ontario, right? So here's the thing is, the speech itself, and this is where we might disagree, I thought he did a great job with the speech. Like I thought, like, and there's a low bar for this, so let's disclaim this. It's a low bar for him. But I think so, really, I think the speech was a good 5 out of 10 for me personally. But for him, for where he is and what he does, I think it was a 10 out of 10 for him. I think he was able to convey the message. I think he really pandered to the base. I think the people that wrote the speech, everything that they had included in there were all the hot button touch points that their group really is trying to strive to push, especially pushing the narrative to the young people. And that's where they're really trying to build. And they even talked about it. They're really trying to go after the young, impressionable people trying to give them this bleak, bleak outlook on their lives and what their lives are going to look like under a liberal government. So I think he did a great job of that. I think Pierre Poilievre came across as a little more likable than he normally does. I think he came across as kind of, he had a lightness and a little bit of a pep in his step, you might want to say. And I think it went well for them. I think it went well for him, especially for his base. I still don't agree with a lot of things that he said. I do agree with certain things like the castle law. Honestly, I think if anyone comes in your house to do something bad, I think you have whatever right you want to deal with them. That's my own personal feeling. I don't think it pertains to like in the US where it's out in the yard. If someone's just on your property, I don't think that's any reason to be able to, do certain
apply
things.
Apply lethal force. The phrase you're looking for is apply lethal force.
Yeah, exactly. But if they break in,
also, that's for another day.
Yeah. If they break into your home, I think, that's it. You got to defend your family.
Okay that you can hurt them, and I don't think that you need to need the lethal force personally. But again, if we start going there, that's going to be the whole show.
Well,
I do agree that it's a worthy conversation, especially because it's a conservative talking point. So I will put it on my notes to bring up again. We don't have time to disagree about it today, but I am looking forward to disagreeing about it in the future. And I mean that.
I do have a question though, because I don't know the answer to this question actually, but when was the last time any leader of any party had a convention in Calgary? Normally, isn't it out in the east?
Yeah, Ontario. Usually it's in Ontario.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole thing
I heard
was
that Carney made a quip he took a shot in the House today saying something like, because it's already been announced that Pierre won't be running in the seat that he has now. And Carney took a shot, something like, well, maybe he's out here, visiting his new riding or something. Well, just visiting his ridings, something about, that
was the other funny thing. That was the other funny thing is he's like, oh, I'm back home. And what he goes there quite a bit though. Like he actually goes there very often. Like I would love to sort of see how often he's back in Alberta when he's in office, or how many times he's in his riding, right?
Well, I don't believe he's in his riding very often, but where does his mother live?
I'm not sure.
I think it's possible if she lives in Calgary, I think it's possible he's there a bit more, but I doubt it. But I agree with you. And you know what? I've been looking forward to this talk since, right? So let me tell everybody what happened right after the speech. Right after the speech, this guy texts me and he's like, I think you're going to be surprised at my opinion of Pierre's speech. And so I didn't ask him what it was. I waited until today. But I agree with you. I think it was good for him. I did say that he hasn't changed direction, and I still stick by that. I know that he's saying that he is. I know that there is a focused effort into trying to demonstrate that they are attempting to deliver a message of hope instead of Canada's broken. But if you listen to everything in between when they're saying that, it's liberals bad, liberals bad, liberals bad. And this is why I'm saying they're not changing direction. When we talk about the misinformation, when we talk about how he gained popularity based on basically bullshit with the misinformation, Michelle Lanceman was in front of reporters. I think it was either today or yesterday. And I think it was yesterday, and said with a straight face that there wasn't separation movements before Carney.
Yeah.
I mean, there's misinformation, and then there's, holy smokes, I really hope that Canadians don't know anything about Canada. But I'm going to say something else too, because Rob touched on how they talked about really targeting the youth. And when I was talking about the Quebec separation movement, when you're talking to the youth, they don't remember what that was like in 95. I was in my 20s in 95. I remember it. I totally remember it. But people who were born in the 90s don't remember it. People who were born in the early 2000s, it was before their time. So I think that that's another reason, because they don't have personal point of reference with it. The same thing of, I talked about it before, about how I had heard on a white supremacist podcast about how they should be targeting young people because people in my age group know too much about the Holocaust. We grew up talking about it with our grandparents and stuff, pardon me, and we're too hard to talk to because we know too much. And younger people who don't know as much about it, they're easier to talk to about how, and they give their denialism. I think it's the same for politics that are repeating themselves. I think it's another reason to go for the youth. I think it's very smart to go for the youth. And I think that there's more than just the reason of they don't have the life experience of remembering what it was like before. So you can put out bullshit out there like Melissa Lanceman of there's no movements before Carney.
Yeah, I think it's funny going all the way back to that message of hope, where they said this is all about hope and dreams, and it was a bunch of garbage. I mean, here's the thing: is at the end of the day, his whole speech was liberals bad. These are all the things that are bad. These are all whatever we're gonna fix, and blah 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 blah. And they go, but this is all about hope. So it's like you're basically saying the world is doomed, and then you go, no, but it's all about hope at the very end. And I'm like, come on, it's not. You can't just say it's hope. And here's the best part is, and I was watching Harper's fireside chat with Jean Chrétien. And
I love Jean Chrétien. Can I just say,
yeah.
I love him.
But you know what? Those two having that conversation and listening to Stephen Harper was mind-blowing. It was like Stephen Harper, when he was talking, and I would suggest everyone go watch that, because when Stephen Harper was talking, his message was about hope. He never said hope really, but his message was, we are Canadians. We should be proud to be Canadians. Talking about the last 10 years, he goes, he's just sort of saying, he wasn't talking about the last 10 years have been garbage or whatever. He said we should be embracing who we are as Canadians. And that's the message of hope that I want to see, is people basically saying we are Canadians. We need to be strong. We need to be united. We need to be one. We can't be divided. We can't, listen to this garbage. And, it was refreshing to me to hear him speak and go, like, why are you not running back for the Conservative leader? Why are, really, that's almost like the type of person that we sort of need right now.
Well, I think that there's a real appetite for politics, even if the political policy is worlds away from each other. I think that the personal attacks and the language that has been used in the past few years in this Maple MAGA style attack system, I think that there's a real appetite for political disagreement without divisiveness. You know what I mean? And I think that that's what the two former prime ministers, that's the message that was given. I really like that message too. I think everybody should see it. I'll make a video about it and I'll post it up on the Maple Minds page as well. But I thought it was really good. And I hope that here's what the speech felt like to me. Because I know I hear what you're saying and I agree with you. It feels like a bunch of political strategists sat Pierre down and said, all right, listen, this is what you need to do in order to get ahead with Canadians. You need to talk about hope. You got to stop talking about how Canada's broken, and you need to start talking about how we as a country should be proud of our country. You should recognize the threat. Obviously, nobody told him to recognize the threat of the United States. We'll get there in a second. So I'll leave that part out of my little speech. But it's like a strategist came to him and said, you need to say these words like hope, and you need to say we're taking a new direction, and you need to say we're going to work with the government, and you need to say we're going to not stand in the way, we're going to help fast track the things that we agree with. And then they didn't say, and you're not allowed to be yourself in between, because in between all those things he was liberals bad, liberals bad, liberals bad.
Yeah, I think yeah. And the interesting part is, and I mean, these are the talking points for Conservatives, because I mean, it's low hanging fruit, but everyone has to sort of realize that in the past 10 years, or even last, let's just say 6 years, we've faced a lot of headwinds, and not just Canada, like all the different countries. after COVID, life has changed. There's a lot of differences that have happened, hyperinflation, like all that stuff is happening. And it's not due to the government that's been in power. The government that's been in power is not the reason for a lot of things that we're facing today. As you can see, it's happening worldwide. It's happening all over the place. It's not just in Canada, but the Conservatives are making it seem like the mishandling of the economy, the mishandling of government by the Liberals has led us to this point. It's not. They're headwinds that everyone has faced. I mean, could there have been some decisions that could have maybe changed things or helped things along in some ways? Of course there are. But most governments in most places all around the world, everyone's facing the same thing. The Liberal government, Mark Carney and Trudeau, have not been in power in every single country around the world doing the same thing. So everyone's sort of fighting the same battle. And I think everyone's using what sort of happened over the past 6 years as their talking points. Well, Liberals are bad. They, look at where we are right now. Well, it's not Liberals. That's just the world that we've lived in. And then that's just sort of where we've gotten to. So I think they are sort of trying to capitalize on life and circumstances and things that have actually happened over the years. Again, yeah, could there have been some changes? I still don't think we would have been that much better off had they made other changes throughout the last 6 years. But I think everyone's facing it, and the Conservatives are really just jumping on it. But
I think that COVID gave a perfect opportunity for the gigantic wedge that the manipulators put into society. And I think that it was probably planned for a really long time. Do you remember SARS back in late 90s, early 2000s?
Yeah, somewhat.
So I remember at that time, the company had put together a special sort of council of people, of very smart people, to make a plan for a world pandemic. And I remember at the time going, world pandemic. I didn't believe it. And because we thought that SARS was just like a China thing. We talked about how, something like that's never going to happen here. And we would see a lot of Chinese people around Vancouver wearing masks that nobody else was. Nobody else was talking about it. And I remember talking with my boss at the time, and he's like, yeah, the reason that we were putting together this plan for how to deal with a world pandemic, because the next time something like this happens, they said it could be as bad as being a whole world pandemic. And I remember thinking bullshit at the time. And I remember March 7th, 2020, when we realized, oh, this is like, and I remember thinking back to late 90s and early 2000s. I remember back to that conversation. So if our company knew that there was the possibility of this happening, I think that manipulators who would like to see big political movements of this size and nature, I think that they were just waiting for the perfect time. Anyways, you can get my tinfoil hat later if you want.
Yeah, no worries. Earlier, you're gonna start going a little bit off on something that was the speech related, and you're like, I'll save it for later.
Yes, the not mentioning Trump.
Yeah. Let's talk about that.
Let me tell you something. And there's going to be so many people who disagree with me, and that's okay. I invite it, as you see. I believe strongly that if Pierre Poilievre were able to take his attack dog persona and point it towards Donald Trump, I think he has a very good chance of winning against Mark Carney. I don't believe he is a better prime minister candidate than Mark Carney. Let me be very clear. I believe that more Canadians would vote for him if he is a good attack dog in the House of Commons. And when you talked about how he had a bit of a pep in his step, how he came across as more personable, more likable in that speech, and I agree with you. He seemed more comfortable with himself. He has a comfort zone. The House of Commons is just so very clearly his comfort zone. He is not like that when he's in an interview anywhere. He's not like that on podcasts. He's not like that with reporters. He is not that comfortable anywhere he wasn't that comfortable on his campaign, not that comfortable anywhere outside of the House of Commons, but in the House of Commons, when you point him towards an attack and you say, go Pierre, go get him, I hate to say this, he's good at it.
Yeah.
If he
Oh,
took
yeah.
that energy and pointed it towards the people who are threatening to annex our country and to apply economic, I'm getting all excited. The people who are threatening us with economic pressure until we become part of their country, if he pointed that, I think he would get so many more Canadians to vote for him. I do. I really do.
I think it's
The
too late.
only
Though.
ones who wouldn't be the Trump supporters, and I think that they're worried. I think right now they don't realize, maybe I'm wrong about this, how many conservatives are Trump supporters and aren't. I think they're worried of finding out, but that's just my own opinion.
Here's the thing is, I think it's too late for him now, though. I think he's already done so much to not go that path, that if he does all of a sudden turn around and do that path, I think there's a lot of people in the middle that will look at it and go, he's just playing us right now because he wants to get our vote. Like, I think it's too late. I think he missed a massive opportunity in this speech.
Yeah.
Not and I don't mean like attack Donald Trump, but just call out,
recognize what's going on. Don't just ignore that big fat elephant in the room.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
The elephant in the room, the big orange elephant.
Yeah, and he needed to acknowledge it. He needed to basically just say something similar to Canada's. We're gonna stay strong together as a country, and we aren't going to put up with anyone who's going to try to take us over or think that we're going to be the 51st state. And just something. It doesn't have to be attack him, but I don't think he can, because I think he still wants. I don't know if he's just afraid of Donald Trump and the US, or if he just really wants them still in his pocket if he needs them for things. And here's the other portion where you said that his base will follow him even if he trashes Donald Trump and goes after him. His base will still stay with him, because that base is not going to ever switch to Carney. You know, like, let's be like very clear. He can still.
Fair enough, they're not switching to Carney, but some of them, if they're hardcore Trumpers, maybe Max, I don't know. So many of them hate Max, and can I just say, as much as I complain about the drama of politics and that I wish everybody would just, drop the personal insults and stuff, my guilty pleasure is watching the PPC fight with conservatives. It is. I'm sorry. I'm a hypocrite for liking that, but I do. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, I mean, here's the thing is the conservatives that we look at today, the federal conservatives, when we look at them, they've become so, and I've said this so many times, they've become so far right that the middle, you've got those, the classic Tories or whatever, like those people that were in the middle, they're no longer seeing a party that they recognize. And they're sliding over to Carney, because Carney is more of a leader and is creating a party that looks more like what their party used to look like than what Pierre Poilievre is offering over on the other side. I mean, it's very clear that middle, it really is sliding over to the Liberals. And I mean, Liberals really are showing that they've become more center and more centrist than they ever have. And I remember back when it was Pierre Elliott Trudeau back in the day, his theme song was "Stuck in the Middle with You," right? I mean, that was like a classic song. And he's basically just saying, clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. Here I am, stuck in the middle with you, right? I mean, that's where we're kind of reverting back to now, where the Liberal Party has now become more in the middle. And they're basically saying, clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. Look, here I am, stuck in the middle with all of you.
So you know what I think? I think that if Pierre, first of all, I disagree with you that, not entirely. I disagree with you with timing on if Pierre is able to turn it around. I think he is able to, depending on when the next election is. If there isn't an election for years, absolutely he can turn it around. He can. People have short memories. They can. You just keep feeding them more reasons. You just keep feeding them more new Pierre, until everybody Sure, it's okay, but that's in the past and they can. But if there was an election, like let's say this year, no, it's too soon. He can't turn around that fast. But if you give him a few years, if he remained on the same new path, then I absolutely think that he could. I don't believe that he will. And I think that he has a personal problem pivoting. So Pierre, the person, can he do it? Doubtful. Can a politician do it? Yeah, absolutely. If they have enough time, I think.
Yeah, I got.
But I don't think he can. I think that at his peak popularity, it was because Trudeau was so unpopular and Pierre was out there throwing shots, and everybody loved the shots that he was throwing because they hated Justin Trudeau so much.
Yeah.
And that's what he wants to get back to. He doesn't like being this unpopular. I think that it's going to be hard to resist throwing shots and doing the old way, because the old way was arguably the most effective for him in his career. It's because of other circumstances, but still in his mindset, that's where I was. Also, here's another reason I don't think he's changing. Jenny fucking Byrne, man. Jenny Byrne, you know who Jenny Byrne is, right?
Yeah.
She's the one with the MAGA cap. She wore the MAGA cap, the blonde with the MAGA cap that was...
Oh, she's not blonde anymore. Let me tell you about Jenny Byrne. So Jenny Byrne, Pierre Poilievre's ex-girlfriend, actually, from way back in the day, but also his campaign manager. A lot of criticism of how Pierre handled the campaign went to Jenny Byrne. A lot of people talked about how Jenny Byrne was like a control freak. And remember how they wouldn't even let media on the plane, and they only let like 3 media of their choosing to every event and stuff. A lot of people blamed Jenny Byrne's tactic. They called her a bully, and a lot of Jenny took the heat for the campaign basically failing. I'm not saying she took all of the blame. She took a considerable amount of blame. And so she made a big deal. I'm stepping away. They know, if they have any questions, I'm right here, but I'm stepping away. I'm going to go do my lobby shit, but I'm not with the party anymore. No. They do all this. Thank you, Jenny, for your service. And then all of a sudden at the convention, I'm seeing this lady in interviews. I'm seeing this lady in articles. And I'm like, why are they calling that brunette Jenny Byrne? That's not Jenny Byrne. And I zoomed way in and I'm like, oh my God, I would not even recognize her. She was blonde. She had signature bangs. She had big signature glasses. She had a look. And even the look that she had when she's filmed wearing that MAGA hat, she doesn't look like the same person, you guys. I don't think she ever went away. I think she went away publicly when she was unpopular and when they needed a scapegoat for a failed election. Because another thing I heard in the speech is the silence on what we can do better, what we recognized as a failure, what we heard from the people that they want to see from us in order to vote for us. Absolutely no acknowledgement of the failure. I think if you don't acknowledge why you failed, you're never going to try to fix the reasons why you failed. And I don't care that this guy has done such a great job by building up the party and getting more. I don't care about that. You didn't win. You didn't win. In politics, the only thing that matters is if you win. It's not horseshoes. It's not who gets closest. It's who wins.
Yeah. Here's the thing is it's the same old song and dance from PP. I think that's the problem, is going all the way back when we were talking about how he was throwing those jabs at Trudeau. Trudeau outlived his usefulness in Canada. I mean, he overstayed his welcome. Honestly, they should have changed it up earlier. But here's the best part is,
but then we might not have Carney.
It's true. I mean, I think it all worked out perfectly. Like, I personally,
think it was intentional
from what I see,
stayed past the expiry date to the point.
Well, I think Trudeau had already passed his expiry date long before anyone even started thinking about Carney. But here's the point: is Pierre Poilievre, it's easy to jump on someone that everyone dislikes, and in the middle started really disliking Trudeau, and everything Pierre Poilievre was doing was trashing Trudeau, and there was no substance to it. I mean, there wasn't. I mean, it was just the whole, Trudeau's horrible, blah, 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 blah. Look at this, look at that, blah, 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 blah. And when Mark Carney came in, that's still what he knew. I mean, he's a one-trick pony. That's all he knows how to do. And he's still trying to do that. And he'd been doing it for a while. And everyone's going, well, wait a second. We like Mark Carney. Like, he's doing the right things. He's doing things that we want him to do. Like, he's even doing things that us as conservatives enjoy him doing. Like, we're hey, these things are good for us. I'm excited about this. And Pierre Poilievre still couldn't understand that, and he kept pushing and pushing and pushing. And as he kept trying to then do the same rhetoric with Mark Carney, the people in the middle are going, you're a bit of a fool, aren't you? Like, actually, you are a fool. Like, why are you doing this? Like, why do you keep with the same song and dance? It's like those people with the flags, the F Trudeau flags, they're now F Carney flags. Why? Like, why? Like, what is the point of that? Like, what has Carney done? You know what I mean? To warrant the flags. I understand the flags for Trudeau. I understand, like, after that many years and just whatever, like, I understand that portion of it. But I mean, even his supporters and his followers can't pivot. I mean, Pierre Poilievre, if he wants, he needs a whole new narrative. He needs a whole new song and dance, and he needs to change it. Because if he's just trying to attack Mark Carney for being Mark Carney, it's not going to work right now, because Mark Carney is so popular.
He needs to fish where the fish are. We've talked about this before. That's a Mulroney saying, I believe. Brian Mulroney, not Ben. Ben, don't even get me started about Ben. Ben's for another show. We'll talk about Ben the day we talk about Castle Law. But in the middle, I think this is what I think. I think that if Pierre doesn't try to appeal to traditional conservatives more, I think that if he continues to prioritize a MAGA style approach of pushing misinformation and disinformation, and doing attacks instead of pushing this new hope narrative that he's talking about pushing, I think Mark Carney's going to be our prime minister for like ever. Because here's another thing: in the NDP, what we see, and I don't know who the leader is going to be. I think that if it's somebody like Rob Ashton who's going to appeal to the blue collar crowd, I think then there's a chance of still keeping some middle ground in the NDP. But if it goes to somebody like Avi Lewis, it's going to go further left. So if you've got Pierre pushing his party further away from the center this way, and you got somebody like Lewis pushing the NDP further this way, that just like leaves all the fish for Carney. Like a liberal supermajority, here you go. And again, I would rather have a minority, except in these circumstances. In these days, I'm happy if he has a majority.
Yeah, I think too. I think that's because in my mind right now, the Conservative Party is more like the PPC. The Liberal Party is closer to conservatives. And I don't know if the NDP can recover.
Okay, here's another thing. NDP, so right now you got Don Davies. Everybody should know I'm not, just to be transparent, I'm not a Davies fan. I don't like that his comments are off. Anyways, I also don't like how he handled today. So today it was announced that the Ontario NDP leader was going to run as a Liberal in a by-election. And he did this whole speech that, honestly, if I just took his words and put them out there, it would sound exactly word for word like when the Conservatives were complaining about the floor crossers, who the D'Entremont and Ma. It's you. If I said, who's this quote from, everybody's going to guess it's from the Conservatives for either D'Entremont or Ma. They're not going to guess that it's about Don Davies. I don't respect that. I think that push, again, why? I think everybody's so busy on the left and on the right. They're so busy trying to be right instead of trying to realize what is the best way forward for 41 million people who don't agree with each other.
Yeah.
Because alienating everybody because they don't agree with you, I think, is ridiculous in a game that involves getting the most support. Why do you want to chase support away in a system? I shouldn't have called it a game. In a political system that depends on having people support. It makes no sense.
I don't understand. I don't understand these people and why they don't have game faces. Like they don't have game faces. Like they literally
or game plans.
They literally are crying because of breakups, like publicly. Like honestly, it's one of those things where it's like, hey, we respect the decision by our MP, blah blah blah. They want to run as a liberal, whatever. I say I wish them all the luck in the world, and I still hope that they lose. But we're going to have someone else, for the NDP that's going to, challenge them in that riding, and hopefully we can still, pull this one out. The fact that he's sitting there being a whiny baby about it actually makes everything look worse. It makes it look worse.
And accusatory. Accusatory exactly the way a conservative would be. Oh, she's abandoning her values or something like that. I thought it was in very poor taste. And also, as a voter, I don't want leaders that are that emotional. Listen, if we get emotional about something, we're allowed to, because we're not in positions of influence. We're just people sharing our opinions. If you're in a position of influence, if you're in a position of power, I want to make sure that you can handle that. And showing an emotional response. Listen, at the poker table, and I know I make a lot of poker references, that's because they're just so relevant. At the poker table, the minute you can get somebody to react emotionally, you have their money, because 100%. Emotionally and good business, two totally separate things.
Yeah, like I said, you need to have a game face. Like, you go cry in your room when no one's around. Go for it. I don't, whatever. But if you're in the middle and you're speaking to the public, and this is public like domain, and you're in a position of power, your only position should be, hey, thank you for your years of service. I really appreciate what you've done. Good luck in your future endeavors. We're gonna have a new, NDP, riding, candidate that's going to go in there and move from there. Like, who cares? Like, make it seem like you don't care. It's business as usual. We're going to, hey, thank you so much. Here, we're going to have someone else go in there and take over for you.
So I want to bring up something else too about unity. I think you brought up unity. And in Harper's speech at his portrait unveiling today, he had talked about how, we're facing a threat, and that we need to work together. Something that I'm challenging conservatives on, as they cheer for Pierre's speech and they cheer for the conservative convention. And I bet they all talk about how it felt amazing in there. I bet it did, but that's not an indication of how Canada feels. I bet it felt absolutely amazing. We've been in rooms like that. We know what the raw sessions are like. But I challenged, somebody had tweeted about the unity that they were preaching about. And I'm like, listen, did you hear the same thing I heard? Because I didn't hear anything that was directed at me. I heard that conservatives are unified. And I understand why you need to market that when so many conservatives are going, well, we're real conservatives and you guys are Maple MAGA. I understand why you need a united party message, but I don't believe that he sent a message of unity with Canada. I think that the unity kind of stopped at the conservative line.
Yeah, I think if you listen to Mark Carney, or you sort of see the things that he's doing, he's there for all of Canada. Like, he really is. He's there for all of Canada, whether the Maple MAGA believe it or not. I mean, they're not going to believe it, and whatever, it is what it is. But he is there for all of Canada, whereas Pierre Poilievre is there for his little slice of the pie, and he's not really expanding that. Like, he's got to show that he's going to be the prime minister for all of Canada, because all I see when I see him and his rhetoric and the stuff that he puts out is, I see Donald Trump, who's only going to be president for a person, like a portion of the United States, and then everyone else can just go screw themselves. And that's what I see when I see Poilievre, is he's just going to be prime minister for his little group of people. And then that's it. The rest of the country is irrelevant to him, and he needs to change that. Either, I mean, I don't want him to pretend. I want him to be that person.
Oh, but, come on, they all pretend a little.
I don't want him there anyway. So,
sorry.
No, I'm just saying I don't want him in power anyway. I think they need a new party leader that's going to be able to unite Canada.
I think they're stuck with him now, and I think that we're going to have Carney for a really long time. And honestly, I think the next election, whenever that happens, I think it sees a Liberal majority, especially depending on if and the reason I bring up Avi Lewis for the NDP is because apparently he's ahead in fundraising, which I still disagree with, because a good leader can delegate fundraising. Fundraising is not necessarily a leadership skill, in my opinion. Leadership is a leadership skill, and I think that Rob Ashton has it as the president of a union. But we'll talk about the NDP leadership on a live that I keep talking about, and I keep talking about Alberta Separation Live too. We got to get our dates together. But since I've brought up Alberta Separation, during the fireside chat that you talked about with Chrétien and Stephen Harper, Chrétien, he's like, I remember, in Quebec and everything, he was like, what the hell's happening in Alberta? Did you see that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then he said, and then Harper said, I didn't sign that petition. Like, he's doing the, and then I think he was asked, has anybody, and Harper's like, no, not that I know of, or something. I think some members of the UCP have. So the Conservative provincial government, I believe, don't quote me, but I believe that they have, but apparently no federal Conservatives.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. I mean, I just find it disheartening when there's so much garbage being put out there, and I feel bad for anyone in Alberta who truly believes that they're going to separate and be their own country, and they're going to be, completely, on their own, independent, and that's the narrative that they've been fed, and I feel sorry for them, because that's not going to be the case. That's literally not what's going to happen, and if it does happen, it's very short-lived. It's not going to be very long. They're going to realize there's, I still, I think about it from a standpoint of all the things that they would have to do to become their own separate state. It's mind-blowing, everything that they would have to do.
And they think they'll keep their Canadian passports and everything too.
No,
and then you got this
you're
guy
done.
asking, you got this guy talking about wanting to ask the United States administration for $500 billion. And I don't know if you saw that interview, but so it's about Jeffrey Rath. He's an Alberta lawyer who's heading one of the separation movements.
Yeah.
But
that guy's
first of all, it's $500 billion. Oh, there's no strings attached.
Yeah. Everybody out there that's got $500 billion that you're going to lend to someone, you tell me if you're not going to have any strings attached to that money, or
$500, you're getting strings, man. If I'm honest with you.
But here's the weird part is what people I still don't understand. If Alberta is so rich and they have so much money and they're going to live life so well, what do you need $500 billion from the United States for? What do you need that money for?
Them off. That's what they said.
Yeah, but they're not paying Ottawa anymore. That money stays within Alberta, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So if they're not giving, so what do they think? They're still going to pay Ottawa, and then they're not going to get any money back because they've separated? That doesn't make any sense. It's like you hang on to your money. Now you've got this money that you can now use. That's what happens as a country. Yep. You create this money within your country. You tax the people however you want to tax them. You can change the tax rate. You can do whatever you want to the people in Alberta, right?
Yeah,
I mean, that's the thing. So you're rich. You've got so much money. You've now taxed the people. Maybe you're taxing them less. Who knows? But then you realize, oh shoot,
he said that there's going to be no tax. So I don't know how they plan on paying it back. He said there's going to be absolutely no tax.
So you know what I found interesting? First of all, we should get that guy in front of reporters as much as possible, because the more he talks, the more people must realize how much the Americans are behind this. They must. How can you listen to that guy and not think that you're going to be American eventually, and probably sooner than later? But what I found most interesting was his failure to disclose whom he was meeting with, especially because, so when she said, you say you're meeting with people high up in the Trump administration, who is that? And he's like, we're not going to say. And she said, Stephen Miller. And he said, no. and then we're not going to say it. And then a little while later, she said, have you met with Donald Trump? And he said, no. Or so, no, sorry. He wouldn't say, I messed that up. He didn't say no to Stephen Miller. When she said Stephen Miller, he said, I'm not telling you who. But when she said Trump, he said no.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Stephen Miller was there. I'm saying he
Could you
didn't say that
imagine?
Stephen Miller wasn't there, and then went into well, it's part of the agreement. It's part of the agreement with these people that we're asking for $500 billion for, that we don't talk to about, we don't tell the names of who's talking to us about $500 billion. Doesn't sound shady at all.
Oh, I mean, the whole thing is shady. I mean, you watch this guy talk like he's a used car salesman. He's not a lawyer. He's a used car salesman. I see him on a lot trying to sell you a lemon, and you can see the rust. You can see it's basically falling apart. And you're all like, well, he says it's going to be great, so let's just believe him. And the whole thing is just baffling. I mean, here's the thing. If the majority of Albertans want to leave and become the 51st state, whatever. That's their prerogative. I mean, it's still not their land to take away from, the Indigenous people. So, I mean, that's, a different point for another day. But the whole point is there's a lot of Albertans that don't want to be part of the United States, but they're being fed this sale of goods that, no, we're all going to be independent. No, don't.
But then
don't look down there.
Hat guy says, well, nobody's actually independent. So he's making it sound like, okay, well, they're going to be their own country that's just dependent on this trading partner, because he kept bringing up that Alberta and the United States have 90% trade with each other, which is close. I think it's like 87 something, but that's true. But why do you trust this guy? How can you watch the president of the United States shit on every single trade deal he's got with every country by, you get more tariffs. You know what? I woke up today and I was in a bad mood about your country. You get more tariffs. How do you trust them that you're going to be able to trade in a way that's beneficial to you? How do you trust this guy? How?
We all know it's going to be a one-sided trade deal. Like there, and really, Alberta does not have the cards. You don't have the cards. You want to separate? You're going to have a decreased population, because there's going to be millions of people in Alberta that are going to leave Alberta because they want to stay Canadian. So, I mean, right then and there, your population is going to nosedive. Who's going to be around to continue these goods and services? Like, who's gonna, like, the Canadian military's gone, the RCMP will be gone, like, you've now got to transition, like, there's so many things that you have to transition to. The doctors, nurses, they're not going to stick around to be like, well, I'm not sure what's going to happen, I don't, they're going to want to go and move. Like, there's going to be so much to it. Like, I mean, I honestly don't think it's ever going to go through, but I just think people need to really wake up to the reality.
I don't think it's going to go through, because I don't believe it's intended to go through. I think it's intended to open the door for the Americans. And now we see the as soon as the fire got lit, when the politicians started speaking against them, okay, now it's in BC and it's in Saskatchewan. So now they're trying to build movements in there. Meanwhile, did you see what Jamil Javani's doing?
No, I don't. That guy makes me like cringe, and it makes
that
me.
Guy made a
he
video.
makes me kind of upset, and I don't even want to listen to him. Like, I can't without my blood pressure shooting through the roof. Like that guy.
You want to plug your ears, because I want to tell everybody else what he's doing.
Oh,
wait till you hear what he did. Just wait till you hear it.
Oh, yeah, go.
He made a video talking about how he's going down to Washington, D.C. to help Mark Carney with Kuzma. I'm going to make a video about it later, but do you see what I mean? They're just unlocking doors, man.
Giovanni. Oh,
yeah.
My goodness.
So I will be making a video about that either tonight or tomorrow. About I recorded his whole little 4-minute speech, and like I know what you mean, Rob. Honestly, it's under 5 minutes. His little speech is under 5 minutes, and I felt myself physically reacting to how angry it made me hearing this guy. It's not your job. First of all, Kuzma's Kuzma's not
Yeah.
like, there's no, this isn't a trade meeting. This is just performative politics of planting more damn seeds of Canada, US, American. It's just more seed planting. And I don't want anything growing that makes me American or
Plus,
even
he's
half
best.
American or
Isn't
part
he
American.
best? Isn't he best friends with JD Vance? I mean,
He
they're
was-
going to give him
they were-
something. They're going to give him something to bring back.
They were roommates at Yale. I think he was at his wedding.
So there is one positive though. There is one positive to all of this. If he's down there, he's now no longer in the universities across Canada, right? So
You should be careful of ICE, just saying. They don't like people from other countries.
Oh yeah, but he's one of them. He's one of them. So he's fine.
So yeah. So later on this week, I think it's going to be this week, Mark Carney and Pierre Poilievre are going to meet. How do we think that's how we're gonna end our show on that? Because we got about 10 minutes left, but I'm pretty sure that our predictions and our opinions can last 10 minutes.
Yeah. So is it in private or is it going to be public? That's my question.
I think it's going to be in private.
So then,
but with all these kinds of meetings, you're going to see them both make statements, put out public statements about that, how the meeting went.
Yeah, and Poilievre is going to come out and say, "Well, I challenged him on all these things, and he's gonna bow down to what we want, and who knows what." I honestly, I don't think it's going to be like. Here's the thing: is if I'm Pierre Poilievre, you come out of that meeting and you basically say, "Hey, we had a very productive meeting. I think that the future of Canada is bright. He was receptive to a lot of our issues. We're going to work together to start trying to make Canada a better place." Like something like that. If he comes out with something like that, people will go, "Hey, wow, that's great."
Well, that's what we want to hear.
That's what we want to hear. We want to hear him basically say, "Oh, his base wants him to hear, F Carney." We disagree on all these things, and we're standing our ground, and liberals bad, Carney's bad. He didn't want to do this, and we're trying to do this and that.
Did he ever meet with Trudeau? I don't think. Did he? I don't think he did. Did he?
I have no idea. Would Trudeau ever let that guy into a room with him? Like, I wouldn't. I'd be like, forget it. Man.
So this is why I think that this is a great move for Carney and for the government. I think the meeting is good because I don't think Pierre, I think it would appeal to his base if he came out and said, "Oh yeah, I really told that guy," or some kind of tough guy bullshit like that. And I don't think he's going to, and I don't think he's going to be able to. I think that Carney's going to be able to have a productive conversation with him. He's not going to be able to bullshit about it. I think that Carney's going to come out with something like super positive about it. I think Pierre's version will be a watered down version of positive, forward thinking kind of stuff. I think that his base is going to want to hear him trash Carney, and I don't think that he's going to. And then I think that could potentially cause some more rift in the Conservatives too, because how many people are Conservatives only because he's so good at shitting on them, at shitting on the Liberals? You know what I mean? How many Conservative messages are about owning the libs instead of whatever policy you're talking about? None of them. A lot of them don't talk about policy. A lot of them don't know about politics. A lot of them do this just for the blood sport and the team sport and the part of being part of a team and watching and being so frustrated and out of control in your own life. And then you get to vote for a guy who's giving it to the other guy that's making your life miserable. As soon as he gives that up, I think that he loses part of his base. But tell me if you disagree.
Yeah, you know what? Here's the funny thing is, as you're talking and I'm listening, I'm thinking to myself, at the end of the day, he's in a lose-lose situation. I mean, Pierre is in a lose-lose situation because his party is so split, right? I mean, it really is. There's more progressive, and then there's more right wing. There's there's a lot in the middle there, right? So if he comes out of the meeting and he's like, it was a productive meeting, blah, 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 you're right. He's going to have his harsh right-wing people going, you got to have a meeting with him and you didn't like hammer him. Like
You're
you
a
didn't
traitor.
like, yeah, like you're a traitor, blah, blah,
Why
blah.
isn't Justin Trudeau arrested?
Yeah. And then if for whatever reason he comes out and he's like, yeah, blah, 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 I did this and I did that. And, I gave it to him. He's now going to lose the other portion of his group where we're like, hey, you had an opportunity to go in there and come to some sort of agreements and try to fight for what's right for Canadians and conservatives and what we want in a productive manner. And then you just do nothing but rhetoric and garbage. Like, you completely forgot what you should have done and gone in there for. So I mean, one way or another, he's not winning.
That's the problem.
Maybe that's
sorry. That's the problem with what he's done, because now he's he has he's courted the right, and the right don't want anything to do with Carney or anything to do at all with any kind of liberal or NDP or anything. It doesn't matter who it is. Right. Yep. And so he has the majority, and that, proves it by him having to go to Calgary to keep his seat safe, Yeah.
I'm so curious where he's going to run next time.
Me too.
Yeah. I think it's in Alberta still. But also, I think that the separation movement hurts him too, because a lot of the people who are supporting the separation movement were part of the convoy, which, again, when I said a lot of people didn't pay attention to politics before that, they just started paying attention then, and Pierre was their guy. And now a lot of the same people are leading the separation movement. If they got their Freedom Convoy support to follow that, now they have to choose between a guy who wants to be prime minister or the right to leave the country. I think it puts him in an interesting position. I hope he gets asked more about it. And I hope he's honest about it, not like Lanceman with her, there's never been a movement like this before Carney. Come on.
Yeah, I agree.
But I liked how Harper said, not me. I did. And I hope that there's a lot of old school conservatives who heard his speech today about hoping that, you see prime minister's he did mess up though. Somebody pointed out in my comments that, and honestly, I didn't even notice it, and something I should have, but he said, I hope that we see, hundreds of more years of other Canadian prime ministers' portraits from both parties, as if Canada only has two parties. He should have said from all parties, but yeah, he was, and it could have been just like a left or right thing. I think that they were really hoping that their sit down fireside chat, which I think would have happened around an event like this anyways. But the message about people from on different sides being unified in the face of a threat like the United States, I don't think we ever, as much as Pierre talks about hope, as much as he talks about wanting to work with the government and stuff, I don't think we're ever going to hear, and I hope I'm wrong, I don't think he's capable of it's me and Carney against Trump. I don't think he can ever say that.
Yeah, I agree. I think
if he did, he would get a ton of support. Like I said, if he took his attack dog persona and pointed it at Trump, and if he attacked Trump with half the energy that he attacked Trudeau, he would have way more Canadian support, I believe. I think he would trade, even if some hardcore Trumpers dump him. I think the amount of people that he would gain versus the amount of people he would lose, I think he's in a net positive after that. That's just what I think.
Yeah, I still think it's too late for him, though. I still think it's too late for him to do it. I don't like, even if he did.
I think he's incapable of doing it. I think he personally can't, because like, if this guy ever pivots, I promise I will tell the internet that I was wrong. But right now, I'm betting that man can't pivot. He can talk about it. He can't do it.
I think the issue for him is I think he has to do it in a way that's not going to anger his base. He's got to do it in a way where he's showing that he's standing up for Canadians, for what Canadians need, and not overtly, go full, bulldog on Trump. Like I think he's got to manage it with a little more, I'm Canadian and I'm here for Canadians, and not like trash him in any way, but really to stand up for Canadians. That's the only way he can do it now. Like there's no way to just do a 180 and just be like,
I know. I think you can. I think but I don't think he can. I think any other politician in his spot could. We've seen a lot of celebrities come back. Like I remember Robert Downey Jr. in the 80s. If you would have told me that guy would have been Iron Man and he would have been successful, I would have bet strongly against it. We've seen people come back. Jack in the Box too. Horrible PR situation when they had, I think, a salmonella outbreak and some people died from their burgers. We saw them come back. I think it is possible to come back from unpopularity. I don't believe it's possible for Pierre Poilievre to come back because I don't believe he can pivot. And I think that his absence of acknowledging his failure or acknowledging anything that could have been done better in his campaign, because sure, celebrate the win, celebrate that you got more seats and celebrate all the good stuff, but still acknowledge that you didn't cross the line, man. You didn't win. And what can you do next time? Because just being better next time isn't good enough because you're still not winning. And the only way to get what you believe is the best for Canada put into action is by winning your seats and getting the power to be able to put those into laws.
Yeah, he's not capable. He's not capable.
He's not going to pivot.
No.
If we see this man pivot, happy to admit I'm wrong. And it can't be this week or the next week. It's got to be like one that stays. I don't think so. I think, like I said, I think he can talk about it. I don't think he can do it. I've heard a lot of other people talk about the speech too, saying, like he did do the speech well. This was the speech he needed to get back on his feet after being knocked down so much, losing his seat, having the RCMP scandal, everything like that. He needed this. It was a good speech for him, but a lot of people pointed out like there was nothing special about it. It was good. There's a difference between being good and being outstanding. I think it was very good. I don't think it was outstanding. I agree with other people when they say that speech could have come from any conservative and there was no Pierre on it. I did like the part about his daughter. When he talked about his daughter, I don't believe that politicians should have to talk about their families. I think it's up to them. I like when they do. I don't expect it of them at all. But I really disliked the criticism when people said, or accused him of trying to, purposely pull on heartstrings like this is what we want from him. We want him to be more likable. We want him to be less plastic robot, conservative opposition and more of a normal human being. And so when he does have a human being moment, don't shit on it. I like the moment. I did.
Well, here's the thing for me for that moment is, it was planned. The moment was planned, but I don't think his feelings and his emotions were planned. Like you could see the emotion like coming out in it. That's not fake. That's real. That's real emotion for your family. The part of the speech where it's part of that was put in there. Let's just say it was put in there for that moment. And he delivered on the moment, but at the same time I don't think that emotion was like a staged emotion. It was a real emotion. As a parent, that emotion, that feeling of like you can even sort of see like him getting through it. Like you could kind of like he was like very emotional with that. And as a parent, I could feel that and I could see it. But they put it in there. That's the thing is like they put it in there for that moment. That's the only thing for me is they did it to try to make him more likable and more personable. And I think it was a good moment for him. Yeah. It's just, I understand that the people that were hating on it because it was put in there for that purpose. But again, I think the emotion was real. There was nothing fake about it. It was just,
I appreciate the purpose. I don't appreciate that they put it in there, you know, to emotionally manipulate or whatever. I think that I want them to tell him to become more personal and to let us see his more vulnerable side and to be more human. So the fact that I'm okay that they put it in there. Like I said, I don't expect any politician to, and I don't give Pierre extra points for doing it at all. But I don't take it away from him because it's something that I believe Canadians want to see.
Yeah.
That's what I think. Anyway, that's a good spot to end it on, I think.
Let's go. Yeah.
Man, that went fast, eh?
Always
Honestly,
does.
we could probably do this for 2 hours and not even blink.
We could. We really could. I can't tonight and you can't on Friday, but one of these days we're going to get together. We're going to do a live about Alberta separation. We're going to do one about the NDP leadership gig too. But the one about the NDP leadership gig we can do after the 19th, because the 19th is the debates and I'm going to be going and watching them.
Oh, nice.
Hopefully they'll let me ask questions. Let me at Abby Lewis. Bullshitter. Let me at him.
Yeah. You're out.
Anyways, thank you to everybody who joined us today. Make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel. You can find any of our old shows on our YouTube channel. Make sure you're following us on TikTok. If you want to see us talk about anything in particular, just leave a message on one of our TikToks or one of our YouTubes. And until Friday, I'm Christy. That's Rob and Polly. And we will be back on Friday at 5 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern. We'll see you then.
See you then.
Thank you to everybody who liked, commented, shared, and even the comments who are not agreeing with us. As long as you're not calling names, we totally appreciate you.
Totally. Yeah. As long
We
as you're
welcome all
respectful about it,
comments.
disagree away. We do.
I love it. Yeah. Yeah. Take shots, guys. Take shots.
Take shots.
Good night,
All right.
guys.
We'll see you Friday. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.